Hello folks, and welcome to Real Estate Q&A with Greg Delane. I'm your host, and today on the show I have a friend of mine that I've known for quite a while. I've been in business. He's helped my business as for my own insurance and for the real estate business also. I have my friend, he's the president of the State Farm insurance company that he represents, and without further ado, I'd like to give you Stephen Sules.
Greg, good to see you again.
Just fine. Steve, before we get going, I don't like to read a person's resume. I want you to briefly let our audience know how you came about getting into insurance and how you ended up where you're at right now at your company.
Yeah, well, I started out in our claims department and settled a lot of homeowner claims, business claims, mostly here in the New York area, but also when they had national disasters, they'd send teams from all over the place to pool them together, like they've done recently with Hurricane Sandy. And I was involved with that for a few years, and then decided to get into the agency side of the business, building up a clientele, my own business, selling insurance, helping people meet their goals and needs in life as it relates to insurance. And I've been doing that, it'll be 30 years. Been doing that, the Stephen Sules Agency in Hartsdale, New York.
You've been at that spot for 30?
Been in Hartsdale for 30 years. It's actually our third location, but we've been right in that same Four Corners area for, it'll be 30 years, yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
And I know you got a great team there.
I have a super team, Kathy and Lena and Donna. They've been with me a long time.
Yeah.
And, they're just terrific people.
Now, Stephen, are you from this area where you...
Originally from New Jersey.
Okay.
And came up here in the early 80s, went to school up at Syracuse University.
Okay.
And made a home here in Westchester County. And I've married with four wonderful children who all grew up and actually went to school in the White Plains school system.
Good for you. My wife is from New Jersey.
Really?
She's from Orange, New Jersey.
I'm from Livingston.
Born
in Newark, raised in Livingston.
Born in Oakland, and I'm being raised here in White Plains. Okay, let's get right to it. I got some questions for you because, the most important thing for me in business is somebody that I trust and I don't have to worry about. I don't want to know how to build a watch. I just want to know what time it is. So that's what I call the guy who has the time. What time is it? And I have never called your office without getting the fire put out, so to say.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to ask you a couple questions regarding what we do in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many people today that have either lost homes or decided to short sale it, and the rental market is exploding. Rental insurance.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people think that you're only supposed to get home or if you own a condo. Isn't rental insurance important?
Yeah, you're referring to people who are actually tenants now.
Yes.
They're not. They haven't purchased their home, or they were forced to give up their home
or
for whatever.
Downsize.
And when you purchase a home, Greg, the mortgagee is going to tell you got to have the insurance, right?
Yes.
There's going to be people telling you got to have the insurance.
Yes.
When you're renting, landlords will not necessarily tell you have to have insurance, but you have to have insurance because you have the same needs as a renter. Mm-hmm. You don't own the building, but you have personal belongings that need to be protected in the event of some kind of a fire or some loss, an insurable loss. You have liability coverage. You could be sued for bodily injury or property damage, and where are you going to get the money to pay for the defense and pay for a judgment if it were to go that way? You get that liability insurance through your renter's insurance, just as you would the personal liability, just as you would through a homeowner policy.
Mm-hmm.
And so these are some of the things that's important to a renter. Also, if you're displaced from a fire or something,
yes,
your insurance will help you, to relocate and pay for any additional living expenses you might incur in a situation like that. So it's very important for renters, and quite frankly, not enough renters purchase renters insurance, and it's really not that expensive. That's the other thing. I mean, it's something that's very affordable, and I urge all renters out there to call their insurance agent or call an insurance company and inquire about renters insurance.
Okay, folks, you hear that? And I don't want you to call anybody. I want you to call Stephen Sules' office.
We'll take your call.
Yeah, I want you to call his office and just ask. The only the only stupid question is the one that you don't ask.
Right.
And ask the question. If it's $30 a month or whatever it might be to cover everything you have in your apartment, and it has, as we were speaking, it's not necessarily people who are in distress because they lost a home, or it can be a couple downsizing, and they become empty nesters. The kids are grown. They're in a 5-bedroom, 3-bath house, and they're only using the kitchen and bedroom now. And they downsize and get a nice little place in White Plains. They need to get renters insurance.
That's right.
All right.
And likewise, kind of a flip side of that, not as it relates to tenants, but there's also people that own a home that may not be able to sell it for whatever reason, and they decide to turn it into a rental property in some cases.
Yes.
What they need to understand is the homeowner policy that they had in force when they were living there needs to be changed to a different type of policy, a rental dwelling policy.
Yes.
And a lot of people miss the boat on that one too. There's definitely a distinction there between being an owner-occupied home, and a landlord, if you will, a lessor.
An investment.
That's right.
And
That's right.
Okay. That's good information. All right. Let's talk about what happens when a person buys a house. And I know the situation, but usually the selling agent or the listing agent, why aren't we closing? Why aren't we closing? And the new buyers of the house, one of the things they have to get in order to close is homeowners insurance.
That's right.
Is that, just speak a little bit about homeowners insurance.
Well, it is what it says it is. It's insuring the home, the physical structure principally, which is what the mortgagee is concerned about, because that's their investment.
Okay.
And if there were to be a fire to the structure and the structure were to be destroyed, the mortgagee wants a guarantee that the home will be rebuilt so that they protect their investment as well. So primarily that's what we're talking about, is insuring the actual structure itself. But beyond that, as with a renter, a homeowner's policy will cover people's personal belongings, their contents, and the other real important thing is personal liability.
Yes.
Bodily injury, property damage. Somebody's at your home, they slip and fall on ice, or they're walking on a sidewalk, and next thing you know, you get a summons and complaint in the mail. Okay, they're suing you for their injury.
Sure.
Well, that's where a homeowner policy is going to come in and protect the homeowner in a lawsuit situation like that.
Absolutely.
So that's very important.
Now, when a person gets homeowners insurance, do you guys have to come out, or can the real estate agent just fax you over the listing with all the pertinent information, or do you actually have to come out and walk through every room and look at the back and down?
Well, it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, insurance companies have a concern of what is it out there that they're insuring.
Yes.
So they're going to want to make sure that a home is in good condition. It's had electrical upgrades, the proper electrical service, a good solid roof on it, plumbing, heating, etc., things of this nature. There's certain qualifications, if you will, that a home has to meet for an insurance carrier, and they all vary. Okay.
Yes.
But they all want to make sure they're insuring a good risk.
That's right.
So, there's inspections involved, but in addition to that, there's a lot of paper information, which kind of can get the ball rolling.
Does that have to do with the title company sending you anything, or is it really not?
Not necessarily. Title insurance is a whole different whole different animal. So we really not looking for anything from the title company. A lot of the information that's important for us comes from either the closing attorney or real estate broker or the mortgagee.
You know, Steve, I can't tell you how many times I've been to a person's house and they want to list their property to sell. And of course, I go and pull the building card, what was originally built there. And on the card it says 3 bedrooms, 1 bath. And I get there and there's 5 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, and a deck and I look to see, and none of this stuff was filed for. And I understand because people don't want their insurance to go up. So the bathrooms are functional. I don't know if they're vented out, but they're functional. And oftentimes I'll go downstairs and I'll see where it says on the card it's full and unfinished. And I'll get down in the basement, and of course it's made out, it's gorgeous down there. And I say, you know, here's the problem. If you sell this to a family member, nobody's going to question it because they grew up here. But if you sell it to a stranger, that attorney's going to find the same information I have, and you're going to have to straighten it out. Was this put in legally? Who did the work? Were they licensed? Blah, blah, blah. And I have so many people that will say, you know, especially when I see the other kitchen, the little summer kitchen, and I try to share with them, here's the blessing. You've had this 30 years. Nothing ever happened down here. You didn't have a fire that started from this other kitchen or that bathroom that's not on the card. And I can tell you that if I watch all those shows on TV where they can tell you exactly where the fire started, and if they find that the fire started in something that was never insured, that you didn't have, the blessing is you've never had any problems. So now let's get things insured. Let's make sure this is legal, that's legal, the plumbing's right. Because if something happens, and I've never seen this to be but why would an insurance company say, wait a minute, what third kitchen? This is a single family house. And the fire started where? You know, so I said, you might not be insured for this stuff that you're putting in. I don't, you know.
Yeah. Well, the key,
dangerous area.
The key to that is the whole reason for permitting and so on and so forth is to create a safe environment for the occupants. So that's why the municipality requires permitting, to make sure that a job is done properly to their specifications. Well, the insurance company's concerned about having a safe environment too, because we don't want any problems to occur. So we like to know that a home has been constructed properly. And that goes along some of the things you were talking about before about inspecting properties and so forth. Now, the thing is, many times that comes up at the time of the sale, the purchase. That's when the insurance company is looking at the home and saying, is this something we want to insure? If you got a whole bunch of violations going on there, you may have difficulty obtaining the insurance in that situation. Now, once the insurance is obtained, and then all these things start going on, that's a little bit of a different story. But the main concern and the main reason for all this is safety for the occupants. Absolutely. And that's what everybody should keep in mind.
Absolutely. I know that here in Greenburgh, and I know all the people down there, and in Greenburgh, when it's time to order title, one of the things that the title company has to do is ask for the town's municipals. And at the building department, they won't release those municipals if the C of O was gotten 20 years ago. This gives them the right to come out to verify this is what it was 20 years ago. And, they can go on the multiple listing service just like anybody else and say, wow, they're selling, this is a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house, and they're selling it as a 2-family and parking for everybody. That gives them the right to come out and take a look.
Absolutely. And as a homeowner, if you're doing everything the right way, then you've got nothing to worry about,
Yes. So. Now, the process of obtaining the insurance before the closing, how many days does it take? How soon should they call you if they're going to close next week?
Well, we assuming we know that it's a risk that a home that we want to insure, and we know the people and so forth, and there's no issues as far as insurance goes. It could be bound that day.
Really?
So typically, we'd like you to give us, we could do it the day of the closing if we had to, but we'd like to have at least 24 hours notice to put everything together and get all the paper to the closing attorneys and to the banks and so on and so forth. Now, the banks sometimes, the mortgagees, if you will, they may want to have insurance proof prior to the closing. That's a different story. But as far as us procuring the policy, that is something that can be done relatively quickly, assuming everything's been checked out already and, it's an acceptable risk.
So we're sitting here at the closing right now. I didn't get the homeowner's insurance. I can get on the phone, call Kathy, I answer the phone. Kathy, me and Stephen are at the closing right now. What do you need for me to send over? I need insurance home. I got to close today.
It's happened many times.
Okay.
We've had people, clients go to the closing and they forgot about the insurance for whatever reason, and they give us a call, and it's all done.
Well, you guys are great, and I know that you take care of business, and you put in my mind that's just one more thing I don't want to have to learn or know about, and that comes with trust, and your reputation it precedes you.
Thank you.
Speaks for you. All right, what about commercial property insurance?
Well, we touched on that a little bit with the rental properties. That's and that's something that a rental property is considered, or I mean it's kind of a hybrid, but it's considered commercial because you're engaged in the business of collecting rents from people and so forth, and it's the type of liability is a landlord liability that you require. So, and then any other kind of business. I mean, I don't know. I don't think we want to get into too much detail, but if you own a business, a small business, it's extremely important to make sure that you have the right kind of business insurance.
Yeah.
And we can help out with business insurance as well. So now there's all kinds of businesses out there, and every insurance carrier and brokerage house has their own little niches as to what kind of businesses they can help you with. So many times, if we're in a situation where we can't provide the specific type of commercial insurance, we may refer them to a friendly broker that we know that may have a market for that kind of thing. So you may, if you're looking for business insurance, don't be surprised if you need to contact a couple of insurance carriers before you find out the one that's going to fit your particular needs. Yeah.
And Kathy explained this to me, me and my landlord, where I'm at my place. Yeah, he's a good guy, and I have nothing bad to say about anybody. But during the Sandy hurricane, I didn't have any power at my house for 8 straight days. Plus, I didn't have any power at my business for 8 days. So, and I don't know whether the owner of the building had power wherever he was at, but I mean, people were scrambling, we're getting generators and stuff, and every day I would come down to the office and it was freezing and the power wasn't on. And I think what was happening is that a lot of business owners were looking at the news saying it'll be on in the next 6 hours. Well, after the days start passing and people's patience start running out, when he came to get his rent, he billed me for his rent. And I said, well, listen, I'm not paying for the 8 days I couldn't get any power here. And he says, well, no, you have to pay your rent. And I said, what effort did you make towards getting a generator and getting the building up and running for me? And so me and him kind of bumped heads about it. And I had made up my mind, I'm not paying. You knock off 8 days. And then I called you guys, and you kind of shared with me, Greg, if you would have owned a pizza parlor, you're a real estate company. Real estate can be done over your cell phone. So there's really not, you really can't say you can't pay rent because of that. Right. And because I heard it from you, I lightened up. I just, so then he wanted to split it with me, and I said, no, we're not splitting it. If you don't owe it, I don't expect you to pay it. But I was of the mindset, because I know he should have gotten over there with a generator and turned it on, but guess what? But it made me feel better when I spoke to you guys.
Well, that's good. That's good. But as you just alluded to, there's all different kinds of businesses.
Yeah.
Now, if you have an ice cream parlor that has no refrigeration, well, they have a problem.
Yes, yes,
okay?
yes.
Whereas a real estate broker, okay, there's no heat, there's no electricity. I could set up something at home or whatever my situation is. The ice cream's not melting in the store.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
So yeah, but there's all it's very complicated. There's certain commercial insurance. There's different types of coverages and endorsements that are appropriate for different types of businesses. So it's something that you really want to get deal with a broker or an insurance company or an agent that you can have a dialogue with, and they should be asking you questions about your business so that they can learn and find out what it is you might need, what's available in the marketplace that you as a particular type of business person might need that, whereas another guy maybe doesn't need that.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, it's very complicated.
Well, I think I was a little stressed. I was at level 9.
I'm glad you calmed down a little bit after that.
Because my whole business was being run from the community center. And shout out to Bill Carter for having I showered there. The computers were up and running there, and I was able to just calm because my power was out at my house too. I would have loved to have brought the business home, but if I wouldn't have called and Kathy explained it to me, and, and then I felt a little better about it.
Well, that's good. That's good. I'm glad to hear that.
But that's what I needed to hear. Okay, let's talk about Sandy.
Okay.
That Sandy hurricane. I'm sure you guys were inundated.
Incredible.
What was the biggest thing that they were trying to?
Well, I mean, it was we've never seen anything like that in this area before, at least in my lifetime, and it was huge. I mean, here in Westchester County, the bulk of the problems that we've had related to trees, trees blowing down, hitting houses, hitting electrical wires, things of that nature, and the damage that a tree would cause to a house, that's covered under your homeowner policy. What happened was a lot of people just lost power, okay? Did not have any real damage to the house. They just didn't have any power. And that created a difficult situation for a lot of people because
sump pumps.
Well, yeah, but about the only thing that's going to be covered in a situation like that is maybe your loss of refrigeration. A lot of companies were paying for that. But as far as going and having to live elsewhere, just because the power's out, that's not covered on your homeowner policy.
Wow.
If the house was damaged and rendered uninhabitable, okay, along with the power outage, that's a different story. So that became very difficult for a lot of people because, I mean, I don't remember a time when people have gone 2 weeks, 3 weeks without power in the middle of the winter in the New York area. So that's why there was a lot of pressure being put on the utility companies, and we found out that it was very difficult to find hotel rooms. You know?
And Gail was calling everywhere.
So it was a tough situation for a lot of people, and my hearts go out to a lot of the people affected. And then down in the shore areas, I mean, they were devastated by storm surge, and storm surge is not even covered on a homeowner policy. That's where you need a flood insurance policy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Flood insurance.
Yeah. So, any kind of a flood, that's the other thing. A homeowner, I know we're running a little bit low on time.
Come on, we got 3 or 4 minutes.
Flood insurance is something that, if we learn anything from Hurricane Sandy, it's that even if you're not in a flood zone, you may want to consider still looking into a flood insurance policy because look what happened. And the homeowner policies, as a rule, will not cover floods, meaning, groundwater, surface water inundating a house. Not to be confused with a broken pipe in a bathroom. Some people may say, I got a flood in my house from a broken pipe. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about an actual flood, groundwater, surface water, runoff, that kind of thing. And tidal surge, which is what happened.
Yes.
Okay. Tides, the surge from the oceans or the body of water, then you're talking about floods at that point.
Wow.
So I think anybody who has the remotest concern about a flood of any nature should strongly consider purchasing flood insurance, which is purchased through the National Flood Insurance Program.
Is it expensive?
Through FEMA. If you're in a flood zone, it can get a little pricey. If you're in an area that floods quite frequently. If you're in an area that doesn't flood, is not flood prone, it's not terribly expensive.
Okay. Got a quick question.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about it. Here's your house. Here's my house. Here's the fence between our house.
Yes.
Here's the tree.
Yes.
On my house.
Right.
My tree falls over the fence and hits your house. Who's responsible?
I'll tell you.
Who pays for it?
We get more questions and confusion about this than anything. That's great that you brought that up. Just because the tree was on your property, that does not make you necessarily responsible for the damage that, quote, your tree caused to your neighbor. Your neighbor's insurance policy would come into play. You are not responsible as a homeowner who has a tree on their property that happened to fall on the neighbor's house. That does not necessarily make you responsible. Now, there are certain times where you could be responsible. If the neighbor came to you prior to it falling and said, hey, look, can you trim this thing or cut it down? It's really presenting a problem. And he can document in some acceptable form that he did notify you of that, and then you failed to do it, well, then you possibly could be held liable at that point. Or very quickly, if there's any kind of rot in the tree, then there could be a situation where the responsibility can fall over to the owner where the tree is located. But as a general rule, no.
Your insurance takes care of it.
If it's your house, tree falls on your house, it's your insurance.
But your insurance is only going to cut the tree down up to that point where
that's right.
Yeah, I've seen that. So why didn't they cut the rest of the tree? Because my insurance wasn't going over there.
That's right. They'll only pay for removal from the tree from your property and your house. That's right.
Stephen, time has gone so fast.
It usually does.
I'm glad that you're up here. I want everybody to take a look at this. This is my Every Door direct mailing. I send it out, and I know you guys have been getting a lot of them, but I have people that I recommend. And there's Stephen right here. So if you have any insurance needs, call my friend Stephen Sules. He's been in the business a long time. I try to always have the bosses and owners on the show. They know the most. Stephen, thank you so much for coming aboard.
My pleasure, Greg. Good being with you again.
Thank you.